Welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to work on some more tools for the log cabin. We'll peeling the logs, even though they were taken down at the right time of year and the bark's not on there too tight. Using an axe is not that effective. It's a little awkward. So I'm going to make a timber slick out of this piece of leaf spring, and basically we're going to forge out a blade, the bevel on the end of it, and then we're going to neck it down and then forge out what we'll wrap and become a socket for a wooden handle. And I think we're going to make the handle about 24 inches long, and plus the blade, the whole thing might end up being about 30 inches long, I guess. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Stick around, and at the end we'll take it down to the log cabin and see how it works on the logs. And use the guillotine tool here to isolate. Oh, maybe not. We're gonna have to reduce that somehow else. Okay, let's rethink that. Better. Now we can start to forge that down a little bit. So you probably notice that I'm keeping the workpiece up off the anvil as I'm hammering. I'm letting it kind of bounce, and that is so that it's not resting on the anvil. It's already getting pretty cold in the shop, and well, the anvil's pretty warm now, but it does pull the heat out of your work quickly, especially when it's thin work. So if you let it hover above the anvil and then hammer onto it, and then the hammer will push it down to the anvil, make contact, move the material, and then automatically your tongue hand's lifting it back up again. It just gets you more time to forge before the piece is too cold. The other thing I'm doing is hammering now that I've got it quite thin. I'm hammering on either side of center, and I'm leaving a thick portion down the middle if I can. And that should just make it stronger. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a hole, or drill a hole probably, just inboard here, so that I can roll that up without affecting the blade itself. We're going to create a cone-shaped socket, and that is going to wrap around the handle. So off camera there, I drilled 2 holes, and then I joined the 2 holes together by cutting with the hacksaw into the hole from the edge. So that just isolates my socket material from the blade. And now I should be able to work like this. Now, even if I have an errant blow, it will not directly affect the material of the blade so much. It'll just push out of the way. So you can just work over the edge of the anvil. Not too worried about bending it a little bit. You can always straighten it. What we can't do is put the material back if we forge it thin in that area. And I want to maintain that width all the way up. Another interesting common misconception, that if I have a round bottom die, I'll achieve a round shape. And it seems intuitive, but in actual fact, the shape comes from the shape of your hammer or your punch, not from the shape of your die. And what I'm telling you may sound a little counterintuitive, but if you think about it, what's happening is the material is only touching the corners. It's never contacting the bottom of the die. So the round effect comes from supporting the edge of your work and driving it down. Obviously, if I needed exactly this shape, I wouldn't be able to achieve it, because at some point my hammer is just hitting against an immovable object as opposed to moving material. You can take a round punch and push it through a ring and have no material at all in the bottom to contact your workpiece, and achieve a perfectly shaped round dome that is basically taking its shape from your punch, and the material will just wrap around that punch because of the resistance created by the perimeter. But the actual bottom surface here really doesn't do anything. Now, different story if you're trying to support your workpiece and hammer on it and achieve round, then this obviously serves a function. But as far as making something hollow with that outside radius to match this, your punch is doing the work. The corners of the die are supporting your work and causing some resistance so that the material will wrap around your punch, but the bottom surface of the die never comes into play until the very last moment when you actually get to that shape. But by that time, you've done all the work. So in that instance, I am using the bottom of the die. So it really depends on how you're using the die. But in this instance, the bottom of the die does not make contact with the workpiece. The bottom of the die doesn't come into play. The punch and the two corners of the die are all that are influencing where material is going. So that socket was created without the aid of a cone hardy. At the end here, I just wrap it around the handle, and you can see I'm getting a nice even burn. Right there. Just reusing an old sledgehammer handle I had. So you're getting lots of contact there, so that's fine, close enough, and we'll refine that with a file afterwards. So now we're just going to heat treat the edge. We'll do a differential heat treat. We'll heat up most of the blade. We'll quench the first, say, inch of the blade, and then a little deeper after that, and then we'll brush the metal clean, and then we'll watch the temper colors run back, and I think we're going to take this to like a dark straw. Set my workpiece aside here to let it normalize. So we heated it up to a red heat above magnetic, and now I've set it aside. We'll let it cool black, and in the meantime we're going to warm this oil up. It's been sitting in the shop, obviously, on the floor. Cold enough this morning. We had ice in the slack tub, so need to warm this oil up. So I just heat up some bars. Alright, well this is good and warm now. The can is warm to the touch. So what we're going to do now, we'll go back in the fire with our workpiece. We're going to heat it up red, above a dull red. It'll be non-magnetic, and then we'll come over here and we're going to differentially quench that. We're going to quench the first inch or so, maybe a little beyond, and then we're going to take a piece of brick and we're going to clean the surface. Well, in the absence of fire brick, we're going to use a little bit of an old belt here, sanding belt. I would say don't judge the color of this from my iPhone camera. Wait for that to temper colors to run there. While we're doing that, I'm going to grab a file just to prove that it is hard. So you can hear that file is skating. And we are starting to run some temper color here. Again, I'm not sure if my camera picks it up or not. You can see the blue, and then it goes into the straw. We're starting to go straw here. We'll let that keep going a little further. Not sure how hard a timber slick really needs to be. It's really just getting up underneath the bark, and we don't have enough heat here to draw the colors twice, I don't think. If I cool this off, that'll be it. We'll just finish fitting this handle, and it fits good actually. That's not going anywhere. So we won't need to do too much there. Yeah, still warm, but take it over to the grinder, put an edge on this, and yeah. I'm not sure if we want the bevel up or down. I almost think we want the bevel facing down when we're scraping the log, so we don't dig into the log below and we're just peeling the bark off. But we'll give both methods a try. We're going to chamfer the top edge, nice shallow angle. All right, let's take this down to the cabin build site and see how it does stripping bark off of logs. Timber slick, small one, that's all we need. We don't need a big one. But fits quite securely on the handle, and yeah, if I find that it comes loose, I could always put a hole in here and drive a small nail in as well to help secure it, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need that. Holding up well. I guess I got a lot of peeling of logs in my future, but yeah, this went as well as I hoped it would, and I think we got an effective tool that will help us finish the log cabin project. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000, and maybe when we get to 1,000, we're going to do a giveaway. Looking for some ideas on what that might be. Perhaps it's this timber slick. Perhaps it's something else. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. And thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.